ago, and it's still, every night, I check the locks 3 times before I can even try to sleep. I'm 28, I live alone in Riverton, Illinois, a small, quiet town where nothing ever happens. I work from home as a freelance graphic designer. My apartment is on the 3rd floor of an old brick building downtown, creaky wooden floors, radiator that knocks like someone's trapped inside, and a single window that looks out over Main Street. Normal life, right? My days are pretty much the same. Wake up around 8:30, make coffee, answer emails, work until 6, then maybe go for a walk or hit the gym in the basement of my building. I'm not antisocial, I have a couple friends here, I text my mom every Sunday, but I like my routine. I like knowing what's coming next. But lately, even before everything went wrong, things felt a little off. Not big things. Just tiny cracks in the normal. For example, sometimes when I walk down Main Street, people stare a second too long. Not rude stares, just confused. Like they're trying to place me. A couple weeks ago, the barista at Brewed Awakening, her name's Jenna, I go there almost every day, handed me my usual black coffee and said, "Here you go, Daniel." I laughed and corrected her, "It's Alex," and she blushed and apologized, said I looked exactly like some regular who stopped coming in. I brushed it off. People mix up names. Then there's the silence thing. My apartment is never used to feel this quiet. I'd have Spotify on, or a podcast, or the TV murmuring in the background. But the past month or so, every time I turn the sound off, even for a second, the quiet feels heavy. Like the air gets thicker. I catch myself holding my breath, waiting for a noise that never comes. And the mirrors. Okay, this one's dumb, but sometimes when I pass the bathroom mirror in the dark hallway, I swear the reflection is a half-second late. Not enough that I can prove it, just enough to make the hair on my neck stand up. I started flipping the hallway light on every single time, even in the middle of the day. I told myself I was just tired. Deadlines, bad sleep, too much caffeine. Nothing to worry about. Then came the Tuesday that changed everything. It was a cold, rainy afternoon in early April. I'd run out of coffee filters for the coffee maker, so I threw on my gray hoodie, grabbed an umbrella, and walked the 3 blocks to the little family-owned grocery on Oak Street. Normal trip. I even waved at Mr. Patel behind the counter. He's owned the place for 30 years and always calls me young man. On the way back, I took the shortcut through the alley behind the post office. There's a big cork bulletin board there, covered in layers of flyers, lost cats, guitar lessons, church bake sales. I don't usually stop, but that day the rain was coming down hard, and the post office awning gave me a little shelter. I was shaking water off my umbrella when my eyes caught a bright yellow sheet near the top of the board. Big black letters, missing, and under it, a photograph. I froze. The face staring back at me was mine. Same short brown hair, same green eyes, same tiny scar on the left cheek from when I fell off my bike at 12. Same everything. But the name printed under the photo wasn't Alex Carter. It was Daniel Reed. Age 28. Last seen 2 weeks ago in Elmwood, the next town over. Wearing a gray hoodie and jeans. I felt the grocery bag slip from my fingers. A carton of eggs hit the wet pavement and cracked open like pale brains. My own face, my exact face, was on a missing person poster, and according to the date at the bottom, Daniel Reed had vanished 14 days ago. I reached up with shaking hands and tore the poster off the board. The wet paper started to tear, but I didn't care. I stuffed it inside my hoodie and ran all the way home, heart hammering so loud I could hear it over the rain. When I got inside, I locked the door, slid the chain, and spread the poster on my kitchen table. The man in the picture smiled slightly, the same half-smile I see in the mirror every morning. And right there, in small print at the bottom, was a phone number for the Elmwood Police Department and one line that made my stomach drop: Daniel was last seen purchasing a one-way bus ticket to Riverton. He was coming here. To my town. And now, he was gone. I sat there staring at my own missing face until the sun went down and the apartment got dark. That was when my phone buzzed on the table. One new text message from an unknown number. Just 6 words, "Okay, you asked for part 2, so here it is. If you haven't seen part 1, go watch it first, because what I'm about to tell you will not make sense otherwise." And honestly, I wish I could go back to the day I only had one weird text. That night after I found the poster, I barely slept. Every time I closed my eyes I saw my own face staring back at me with the word missing stamped over it. At 3:17 a.m. I got out of bed, took the yellow poster, folded it small, and hid it in the freezer behind the frozen peas. I don't know why. It just felt safer than leaving it on the table. The next morning I told myself I would act normal. Go to work, answer client emails, pretend nothing happened. But the second I opened my laptop there was already a new email in my inbox. No subject. No text in the body. Just one attachment, a photo of the same missing person poster, but taken from inside my kitchen. You could see my coffee mug and yesterday's mail in the background. Someone had been in my apartment while I was asleep. I called in sick to every client and didn't leave the couch all day. That's when the little things started piling up, fast. First, the staring got worse. I went to the corner store for cigarettes. Yes, I started smoking again. Sue me, and the cashier, a kid I've seen 100 times, looked at me like he'd seen a ghost. He whispered, "You're back." I asked what he meant. He just shook his head and said, "Nothing, man. Thought you were someone else." But he kept watching me in the security mirror the whole time. Later that afternoon I was waiting for the elevator in my building. Mrs. Alvarez from 3B got in with me. She's 70-something, always friendly. She took one look at me and crossed herself. Actually crossed herself. Then she said, very softly, "God protect you, Daniel." The elevator doors opened on my floor and I practically ran out. I started getting silent phone calls. My phone would ring, private number, then dead air for 10, 15 seconds, and a soft click. This happened 6 times the first day, 12 times the second. Once, just once, I heard breathing. Slow, calm breathing, like someone was smiling on the other end. Then the text messages began. Unknown number, always the same, stop pretending. I know what you did with my life. You can't hide in my skin forever. Look behind you. I changed my number. 2 days later the text started again on the new one. I tried telling people. I showed my best friend Mike the poster and the photo that was taken inside my apartment. He got quiet, then said, "Bro, this looks like a really good Photoshop. Are you okay? You've been stressed." I showed my mom over FaceTime. She started crying and begged me to come home for a while. But when I told the cops, Riverton PD, they ran my ID, saw I was Alex Carter, not Daniel Reed, and basically patted me on the shoulder and told me to block the number and stop talking to internet weirdos. No one believed me. I was completely alone with it. At night it got worse. I'd hear footsteps in the hallway, slow ones, stopping right outside my door. I'd look through the peephole, nothing. But the floorboards kept creaking, back and forth, like someone was pacing, waiting. One night I opened the door fast, ready to scream at whoever it was. Empty hallway. But my welcome mat had been turned around. Someone had been there. I stopped sleeping. I kept every light in the apartment on. I started checking the locks every 10 minutes. I even dragged my dresser in front of the door. Then came Friday night, 5 days after I found the poster. I was sitting on the couch, curtains closed, lights blazing, when every bulb in the apartment flickered at once. Just once. Like a breath. The TV turned itself on, static, then off again. My phone buzzed with another text, "Open the door. It's cold out here." I didn't move. I couldn't even breathe. 30 seconds later, knock knock knock. Soft. Patient. Knock knock knock. I stayed frozen on the couch, clutching a kitchen knife. The knocking stopped. Then I heard it, the faint scrape of metal against metal. My mailbox, the one in the hallway outside my apartment, was being opened. I heard papers rustling. Then the tiny door clanged shut. I waited an hour before I dared to look. When I finally opened my front door, the hallway was empty again. But there, sticking out of my mailbox, was a single Polaroid photo. It was taken from the alley behind my building, pointed up at my living room window. The photo showed me sitting on the couch exactly as I had been minutes earlier, knife in hand, face lit blue by my phone screen. On the white border at the bottom, someone had written in black Sharpie, "I can see you, Alex. But they still think you're me." I slammed the door, chained it, pushed the dresser back in place, and sat on the floor shaking until sunrise. Whoever, or whatever, was doing this, they weren't just watching from a distance anymore. They were right outside my walls. "You're still here, thank you." I wasn't sure I'd be alive to post this one. Part 3 is the night I thought I was going to die. Everything before this was just the warning. This was the moment it came for me. It was exactly 1 week after I found the poster. 7 nights of no sleep, lights on, knife under my pillow. By now I was running on Red Bull and terror. My hands shook so bad I could barely hold a glass of water. That night the power went out in the whole building at 11:47 p.m. Not a storm. Not flickering. Just gone. Every light, every appliance, dead. The sudden darkness felt like falling into cold water. I grabbed my phone, 32% battery, turned on the flashlight, and sat in the middle of the living room floor with my back against the couch so nothing could sneak up behind me. Silence. The kind of silence that has weight. Even the radiator stopped knocking. Then I heard it. A soft click from the front door. The deadbolt turning. Very, very slowly. My heart slammed so hard I felt it in my teeth. I stared at the door. The chain was still on. The dresser was still pushed in front of it. But the handle started to move. Down, then up. Testing. I couldn't breathe. I raised the phone light toward the door and whispered, "I have a gun." I didn't. My voice cracked like a scared kid. The handle stopped moving. Silence again. Then a new sound. Tap, tap, tap. Coming from the bedroom window. I live on the 3rd floor. There is no balcony. No fire escape on that side. Tap, 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 tap. Like fingernails on glass. Slow. Patient. I forced myself to stand, legs shaking, and walked toward the bedroom, keeping the phone light pointed at the floor so it wouldn't reflect and blind me. The tapping stopped the second I stepped into the room. The window was open 2 inches. I know I closed and locked it that morning. I check it 10 times a day now. Cold air poured in. The curtain moved a little, like someone had just let it fall back into place. I crept closer, knife out, heart going so fast I thought I would pass out. I reached the window and yanked the curtain aside. Nothing. Just the empty alley 3 floors down, lit by 1 weak street lamp. Rain starting to fall. I slammed the window shut, locked it, and pulled the curtain closed again. That's when the breathing started. Right behind me. Slow, calm breathing. In the room with me. I spun around. The bedroom was empty. But the breathing continued. In, out, in, out. Close enough that I felt it on the back of my neck. I swung the knife in every direction, screaming, "Get away from me." The breathing stopped. For 5 full seconds I heard nothing but my own sobbing. Then my phone buzzed in my hand. A video call from unknown. I almost dropped the phone. The screen showed only black, but the call was live. I answered it without thinking. The camera flipped. And there I was. My face. My eyes. My scar. Staring back at me from the phone. But the background wasn't my bedroom. It was my living room. He was sitting on my couch, holding a second phone, filming me from the other room. He smiled the exact half-smile I see in the mirror every day. Then he spoke, and it was my voice, my exact voice, coming through the speaker. "Found you, Alex." The call ended. I ran. I dropped the knife, bolted out of the bedroom, shoved the dresser away from the front door with strength I didn't know I had, and sprinted into the hallway. The building was pitch black. Emergency lights dead. I took the stairs 3 at a time, almost falling, crying, phone flashlight bouncing off the walls. When I reached the lobby I crashed through the front door into the rain. I didn't stop running until I was 3 blocks away, hiding under the awning of the closed gas station, soaked and shaking. I looked back at my building. 3rd floor. My apartment window. The curtain moved. And for just a second, a silhouette stood there. My height. My build. My face catching the streetlight. Then the light in the alley flickered once, and when it came back on, the window was empty. I called the police from the gas station. They searched my apartment. Nothing. No footprints, no forced entry, power came back on by itself. But they found one thing. On my bathroom mirror, written in the steam I swear wasn't there before, "You can run, but this face only belongs to one of us." If you're watching this, it means I'm still alive, for now. After that night I never went back to the apartment. The police let me grab a duffel bag the next morning while 2 officers stood guard. I took my laptop, some clothes, my passport, and I left the key on the counter. I haven't been inside since. I quit my job the same week. Told my biggest client I had a family emergency. They were nice about it, but I could hear the doubt in their voice. Everyone thinks I had a nervous breakdown. My mom begged me to move back home to Springfield. I lasted 4 days. Every time I looked in a mirror I saw him standing behind me, even when I knew the room was empty. I couldn't sleep in my childhood bedroom, the house felt too quiet in the exact same wrong way my apartment had. So I left again. I've been moving ever since. Cheap motels, Airbnbs, sometimes just sleeping in my car. I pay cash whenever I can. I dyed my hair black, grew a beard, started wearing colored contacts. I look different now, but every time I catch my reflection too fast, my stomach drops. Because for half a second it still looks like him. I don't use my real name anymore. I don't have social media. I threw my old phone in a lake and bought a burner every month. I never stay anywhere longer than 2 weeks. I'm paranoid in ways I can't turn off. I sit with my back to walls. I check the locks 5, 6, 7 times. I flinch when someone says "Daniel" in public. I avoid places with cork bulletin boards, post offices, bus stations. If I see a yellow piece of paper, my legs start shaking. The police closed the Daniel Reed case. Official conclusion: Daniel Reed voluntarily left the area, no evidence of foul play. They never found a body. They never found him. They interviewed me for hours, ran my DNA, my fingerprints. Everything says I'm Alex Carter. But sometimes, when the detective looks at the old photos, I see it in his eyes, he's not 100% sure. I tried therapy. Twice. Both therapists gently suggested I was suffering from Capgras-like delusions, or extreme stress. The second one asked if I had ever been evaluated for dissociative identity disorder. I never went back. I thought the worst was over. I really did. Until 3 nights ago. I was in a tiny roadside motel outside Kansas City, room 12, the one at the very end. I had followed every rule, curtains closed, chair under the doorknob, lights on. At 2:14 a.m. my new burner phone rang. I never give that number to anyone. I stared at the screen, unknown. I let it ring out. 30 seconds later it rang again. On the third time I answered and said nothing. For almost a full minute, just breathing. My breathing. Then my voice, calm and close, like the phone was pressed to his mouth. You look tired, Alex. You should stop running. This face fits me better anyway. The call ended. I checked the motel parking lot. Empty. I checked the peephole. Empty hallway. But when I opened the curtain just an inch, there was a single yellow sheet of paper under my windshield wiper, flapping in the wind. I waited until sunrise to go get it. Same bright yellow. Same black letters. Missing, and in the center, a new photo. Taken that same night, through the motel window while I slept. It shows me on the bed, eyes closed, mouth open. And standing at the foot of the bed, smiling down at me, is the man with my old face, my real face, holding the camera. At the bottom, fresh ink, still a little wet, see you soon. One of us has to disappear for good. I left before checkout. I haven't stopped driving since. So here I am, recording this in yet another car, somewhere I won't tell you. I don't know how long I can keep running. I don't know if he's 10 miles behind me or sitting in the back seat right now. Sometimes, when it's really quiet and the road is empty, I look in the rearview mirror and I swear the eyes looking back aren't mine anymore. So I keep asking myself the question that never goes away. What if he doesn't just want my face? What if he's done this before, and the real Alex Carter is the one who's already been missing for years? If this video stops uploading one day, you'll know which one of us won. Thank you for listening. If you see someone who looks like me, don't trust him. Good night. Or whatever's left of it.